go with another video. Here's a surprise for you. Look at that. There he is, bless him. Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember the age-old videos back in the 80s on telly. Never work with kids or animals. Well, guess what? Old crazy boys attempting to do both. So this is my son, Arlen. He's 3 and a month or two's time now. So yeah, he's growing like a weed and he's into everything, as boys should be, I guess. It's an absolute nightmare. So yeah, here we go. Let's get straight into it. This is the coop that I built. Some batten inside there so they can roost at night time. I decided to make them square, rounded off. Apparently chickens don't like round poles, they prefer little flat surfaces to sit on. Some feeders, I've taken this off, it's removable, so when we clean it, it's nice and easy. And that again there, that can just be removed. It just pulls out from where those bits of batten are. It just secures it. So when we give the old coop a good clean out now and again, it's easier, you know. So that was a design feature that was evolving as the build was going on. There was no drawings, I just made it up as I went along. And that just slots on there, as you can see. So they're not really using it much. They seem to be sleeping or roosting on the floor, which is quite common. They're both young. One of them's just started laying a few weeks ago. The other one's not laying yet. And that's the egg box inside there. And of course, I've made it ultra secure. That's the food poo, which we reuse in fertiliser. That's the youngest, that's Clara, named after my late mum's little hen egg container. And that's Griselda, which my partner named. I think the name comes from Miss Marple character, Griselda. And guess what? There he is again. There's my son looking at the chicken's ass. Hello, Arlen. How are you doing? He's helping. Yeah, you helped a lot, didn't you? Yeah, he's helped me to learn patience. Bless him. So yeah, all of this is just free wood, basically. It was, some parts of it was originally a rabbit hutch, and I've just extended it. That was free, just tiny cage, had a small door, which I've took out the small door and put that big door on there. Makes it a lot easier to get in and again, you know, clean and lock the door to the coop, which you're going to have a look at in a sec. There's a lot of chickens being taken by foxes, especially during lockdown. There's no scrap food available. But anyway, here's the little mad design that I've done. Just paracord running through the roof, and inside, once we've taken these 3 bolts out, we look up and I just got a pulley from B&Q, there it is, and I've just cable tied it, modified it, and attached it to the door. There's the 2 locking bolts, as I said earlier. So we just release it, push it forward and lock them in. So, you know, they go in when they're ready, when it starts to get a bit dark in the evenings, and we lock them in there secure. This is a bit of a joke my partner found out, a little xylophone we put in there. And as yet they're not pecking on it, but maybe they will. Just gives them something to do, and they love a bit of a laugh. Chickens are great. That's another design feature. We pull the tiles up, them 2 on the floor, pull that out, and we can clean all inside. You don't want to encourage rats, so try and keep your running coop as clean as possible. And yep, that's all looking good. I'm still debating whether to paint it all or stain it all before winter. That's a quirky little solar lighter we got from an auction once. Now, underneath these slabs, all the way around the perimeter of the run, is 2 different size mesh and wire mesh, and obviously 2-foot heavy slabs on top, so no fox is going to get under there. The mesh on this build is 20mm square, 1.5mm thick, welded, so it's nice and strong. This run we got incidentally. We was very lucky. My partner's on Facebook, and as most of you know, I don't do Facebook. She found this run on Facebook, and 20 quid. So it was a day trip there and back. You know, the fuel in my car's really cheap, so it didn't cost much. So very happy with that. Just built a few things inside. It's all pallet wood mainly. The object or the brief of this was to do it as little and as cheap as possible. Lots of these containers I got free. A website called Trash Nothing on your mobile phone, and you just put the postcode where you're in, and it finds stuff that people are giving away for free. Once again, little things to keep the little chickens occupied. Happy hens lay eggs, so if you keep them happy, you get lots of eggs, and it's all good. Here's the old parachute wrap from Wilderness Leisure I got years ago. I got tons of these, and yep, that's it. That's for winter and rain. That's going to keep that nice and dry inside. Some herbs, some lavender, sage, and more lavender. They just like it. It's good for them. And that's basically keeping our sun at the back. I do plan on extending this over to the wall. Again, this is all triple meshed underneath with slabs on top to stop the foxes getting in. So yeah, I might extend that. There's another project I've done a while back. This is all batten I found in a skip. Some plastic sheeting given from Steve H110 on Instagram. Thank you, mate. Nice one. And that helped getting our seedlings off to a flying start. These are just little leftover bits and pieces inside there. It's going to come into its own early next year when we do it all again. Believe it or not, yeah, there's some onion sets coming along, some courgettes. But I'm not expecting anything I'm growing to survive. It's just all practice this year to see what works and what doesn't. Again, those are carrot seeds gone in. As I said, you know, all of these containers, we was very, very lucky to get them. This guy was getting rid of. He had a nursery up in Southsea in the bottom of Portsmouth. So I just took a trip over there down south and picked them all up for nothing. And nice guy. And luckily, it's reaped dividends for us because, you know, without digging up the garden, containers, you can move them around, sunny positions. When it's stream rain comes, you can move them into the dry, and it's a great idea. Small crops, you know, it's fine. Big things like potatoes and stuff, you need really big containers, as you're going to see a little bit later on in this video. Once again, you know, we're just trying lots of different things to see what works and what doesn't. This is for you, Dad, a little salad container I've made for you. That should go in your kitchen window nicely. I'll bring that up soon for you, mate, so no problem, Dad. I'll split a thyme plant, not looking too good, no, we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, we had a massive glut of tomato plants, and these are what's left over. It's crazy. And some courgettes. So we're planning on looking at the front or the side of the house to put some of these. Yeah, it's just cabbages really, just lots of little plants. These two are good deals. Got them from Wilkinson right at the start of lockdown. There was a sale back then as well. Very lucky to get these. They were like £10 each. So to bring on lots of seedlings, you know, when the weather's out, make sure they're well watered and the temperature heats up. If you're growing things like chilies and peppers, they need 20+ Celsius soil temps to get started. So this is ideal for things like that. And of course, it keeps them out from the torrential rain and all of the winds. So for £10 each, these little things are great. Herbs, very good. We plan on drying loads of those out and using them through the winter months. So herbs are very good, and also for the chickens as well. We put some dried herbs in with their nesting box, and they're very calm and relaxed, and they just like going in there. And it's working great because we're getting eggs every day, as I said. So you can't ask for no more than that. And when the other girl's old enough, should be in a few more weeks now, she'll be laying eggs hopefully every day, and we'll be having quite a fair bit. Some chilies. The Naga's not come out, which I'm a bit gutted about. I thought I'd try some. I think they're old seeds, so I need to get some new seeds. Lots of these seeds were a year or so out of date, and not all of them have come up, but some of them have. So we're you know, we're seeing what works basically. So that's on the list. A nice new batch of seeds. Lots of them are heirloom, but some of them are commercial, so beggars can't be and all that. Clothes pegs, old ones, we wrote on. Just little ID tags. Now here's a trick that I learnt down the allotment years ago. Debris netting you get on scaffolding and websites, etc. It's a lot cheaper than the other mesh, and so far it's keeping all of the nasty bugs and cabbage white butterflies. They're coming out soon. This is I think it's 20mm blue wastewater pipe. You buy it in a big reel, whatever length you want. Cut it up, thread it in. They're just little end caps on the end of the white metal pole there, basically to stop it ripping the net when it gets a bit windy. So that's all they are, little lids off of aerosol cans, electrical taped on to keep on. As I say, it stops it ripping it all. And yeah, that long pole in the middle, that was Trev, kamikaze at Peppermeat. He gave me this little gazebo for the boy, and he loved it last summer. So we took a few poles from that. And so far, here's a few months from seed, some plants have been grown. Beetroot is coming along nicely. We got some cabbages here. My partner, bless her, she's sown about 50 cabbage plants, and every single one of them come up. So we got loads of cabbage plants. And some of you guys who know what you're doing will see this and think, yep, look at that, that's spinach. How cool is that? It's beautiful. Really big as well. Yes, it's planted very close together. As I say, it's just an experiment to see how big they get and how they fare. Because we've only got a small garden, so we wanted to get as much as we can in there. So hopefully we've got some pak choi there. Very nice. It's just started to get munched a little bit now. Probably some beetle got in there. I'm looking forward to harvesting the pak choi soon. Looks like it's getting ready pretty soon too. Very nice. Yeah, there's me. This was yesterday before the rain. One of them's bolted there, as you can see. You can't win them all. It's just been very hot and sunny, and you do get a lot of bolting when the weather's like that. So yeah, that's mainly the leafy stuff in there. We got some parsnips in the ground, only a few. As I said, this is all experimental this year. I'm not expecting anything to survive, but it looks like it's doing pretty well, so we're lucky. These are good to keep lots of pests away from your crops. Bit of companion plant in there, and as you probably noticed, we've got onions all the way around the perimeter because most bugs don't like the smell of onions, so we put that around the outside. Some kale, we love kale. My personal favourite is the one on the end, the black one, but there's only one seed, so I'm going to let that go to seed at the end and get some seeds for next year. These I've decided to put on in bigger pots because we haven't got the room at the moment, but when we dig the potatoes, they should be ready to go in the ground after them. So that's the plan. And again, you know, these are all cable tied, crisscross, and taped to stop any snagging issues, because we do not want that netting getting ripped. Netting's really good. That scaffold debris net. I think I got 50 metres and it's a couple of metres wide. And yep, here's the potatoes. And yep, luckily we got some wood and some chicken wire from next door. They brought it intentionally to stop the cats. That was 20 quid I gave him for all of that. We got loads left as well. An old fire guard that come with this property to stop Arlen clobbing in there really. And where that big long cane is, that's where we got some broad beans. Incidentally, you just missed it there. On the corners, I put some carpet tiles around there because that chicken wire is very sharp, and we didn't want Arlen scratching himself and getting cut. And the girls say free range, but we keep our eyes on them like a hawk because there's so many things out to get chickens. We're surrounded by cats. We've got a serious fox risk, and we have seen quite a few birds of prey, so you can be very careful. Some jute twine just to help the broad beans come along a bit. Yep, they're flowering, they just started to. My plan with potatoes, like I usually do, is to let the whole lot die off, go yellow, and once it's dead, I just cut about 1 inch or 2 from the ground, the stalks, feed them and water them like crazy for about 2 or 3 days and leave them for a couple of weeks, don't do nothing, and then you just dig them up. That's a compost heap, some potatoes in there. That bit of perspex I found near work, 8 foot by 2 foot, how lucky. Awesome. Just made a sort of a mini sort of greenhouse, because in there as you're about to see, is mainly soft stuff. Again, it's all pallet wood, all free. A couple of planks. I think someone was doing some concrete shuttering a few roads up, and my partner see them and skip, and we asked them and they were good to go. 3 containers. The perspex is free, can't believe that. But yeah, it's expensive now because of this COVID-19 with shops. Some courgette plants. They grow quite big, so we've only got 2 in there. Various varieties of tomatoes, and just behind there we've got some little cucumbers coming along, because tomatoes and cucumbers and nice in salads. So we're going to train those up those leftover mesh panels we found on our chicken build. So they're going to climb and attach to that. Got one of these from Poundland, they're only £1, and the temperatures go quite high, so it gets about 45 in there, believe it or not, when it's really sunny. It's crazy. Incidentally, when I actually plant the tomato plants here, I actually hollow out and make like a little a dip. So when I water, all of the water just sits in like a puddle. So all I do is, you're seeing here, is I make like a well, and yeah, pull a few weeds out as and when you go. And so when you water, it sits there and it goes directly into the roots. It's called spot watering. You don't want to water everything, all the soil, because you get weeds everywhere. You just water where the roots of your crops are, and the water drains in there. All good. And moving along to there, it's the same again really. All tomato plants. The canes, incidentally, they skip up the road. There's some courgettes in there somewhere. They're just starting to come along now. So my partner loves courgettes. I'm not that big on them, but it'll cheer her up. Of course, you can always chuck them in with some sauces, you know, blitz them all up with tomatoes and garlic and blah blah blah. Yeah, all of the canes. Yeah, bamboos grown in the garden. He chopped them all down. So we brought them back home. We stripped all of the leaves off, and yeah, incidentally, you got to pinch these little shoots out. These are buggers, because if you let them grow, you won't hardly get any tomatoes. You keep pinching them little side shoots out, you should get lots of tomatoes. So yeah, we got all of the bamboos canes for free as well, and we just had a bin liner full of leaves which we dried and threw away. That was in the loft, believe it or not, before our central heating system got changed. That was the tank, so we've emptied that out, give it a good clean, planted in there some alpine strawberries. Now these are a trial, never done these before. There's 4 plants I got for £1 on eBay, and the beauty of these, they grow all year round, so awesome. Now this little planter system I got sorted out with a Acorn box on top for me potatoes. An old Acorn that was given to me free years ago, and I had all my NBC stuff stored in there, but give it a good clean, drilled some holes in it, filled it up full of £1.99 a bag soil from Aldi, and 6 potatoes in there. Leveled it all off with pallets. Again, everything's free, reusable. These are strawberry punnets, they're great, they are. They've all got holes in the bottom already. You just screw them to the pallets. When all our herbs are ready, they're going to live in there. I did put them inside there initially. They fitted perfectly, but they're not going to get much sun, so I'll put them on the outside. Again, that's a supporting pallet. It's on a drain, so the whole thing is freestanding. I can move it all. In the bike shed I made, just a little extra bit of space. We can put plants in there like a little mini greenhouse, so that's all good. And again, it shields, you know, the plants from the winds and heavy rains. More of these free planters again. As I said, we've got loads of tomato plants. As you'll see in here, lots and lots and lots of them. Now, most of them are sort of golf ball size or cherry tomatoes. Some of them are those big beef ones. And next door's raspberries for free. Crept under the hedge. Always a nice bonus. So yeah, with all different varieties of tomatoes, because we use them a lot. And what I've done before is I've put them in the oven with some garlic, olive oil, some herbs, cook them for a half hour or so, and then just put them in a blender, blitz them, heat them up, pour it over pasta. It's beautiful. Really quick, really cheap, really clean, and really healthy. Some pallets that I've been breaking up, they're going to be going on a fence out the front of the garden. And that pallet breaker there I've got on eBay. Great design, so if you want to pause and copy the idea, go for it. Box steel section. heavy plating, good welding. I think that was £20 delivered. I'm absolutely made up, and I'll tell you what, it really does wreck pallets. It really does an excellent job. Nice long handle. It's all solid steel, and yeah, it makes it easy. This was a recent find. I got myself a crowbar finally, and I've just tickled the edges up there just to give them a new lease of life because it was old and rounded over. So I've been breaking pallets with the combination of these two tools and my club hammer, and yep, getting lots of free wood from pallets. So that's a great idea, guys. If you're struggling to, oh, here he comes again. He's everywhere, bless him. That's 2 foot tall, that Jemmy bar, but look at him. He's growing, bless him. And our apple tree in the garden, my partner, she made like a little bug hotel. That's a great idea because we need as many ladybirds and aphid munchers as we can. The apples are coming along, but Arlen's pulled off half of them. It's a common problem with kids apparently. And there's a little bug box I've got a few years ago, stuck on the wall there to encourage insects. So yep, we're getting there. As I said, this year is just a trial run to see how we get on. And once again, thanks to these cute girls, we're getting eggs, so we're making cakes. We're having eggs on toast and all the rest of it. And they'll have a good dust bath. Keeps their feathers good and keeps them happy. And that's how they clean themselves. Hello, Clara. Yeah, they're funny. They're Peking Bantams, if any of you are interested. They're smaller, less hassle, and the yolks are the same size as you get in ordinary eggs. You just get a bit of less egg white, so all good. Bless them. And here they are. This is after a few days. So thanks for watching, guys, and stay funky.